Hello, I'm Jeremy Wells. Today in ACC Investigates, we look further into cricket's bitter trans-Tasman rivalry. This is a history of hate.
On right through him, clean bowl.
We continue our history of hate with arguably the most explosive episode in the long history of trans-Tasman rivalry. No, not the underarm. We're talking about the night New Zealand-Australian relations took a bizarre, unexpected and erotic twist. It happened at an underground King's Cross gentlemen's club in the presence of two Australasian legends, Don Bradman and Edmund Hillary.
Well, it's widely known that both men attended a pre-match fundraiser ahead of the first Australian-New Zealand Test match at the SCG in 1952. That much we know for certain. It was a particularly boozy occasion, and at some point Bradman invited Hillary to join him at an exclusive members-only club in the Cross. Now, there are a number of versions of this, but most people agree that two men gorged themselves on wine and woman. But things took a turn for the worse when Bradman invited Hillary into a private cellar to settle a disagreement.
It was, in fact, an assignation involving a coterie of Australian players, men and women. Out of respect for his hosts, Hillary agreed to join the orgy on the condition they use a safe word.
Apparently, Hillary had suggested the safe word aroha, something very Kiwi. But Bradman, he stood back and he took off his thong and he held it up and he said, "How about we use this, mate?"
Hillary agreed, but during the ensuing gangbang, he was overwhelmed by the sheer depravity of the Australians. Terrified, Hillary began yelling the safe word.
Well, later Bradman would claim that the safe word was thong, and he couldn't understand why Hillary was yelling jandal, jandal, jandal. He thought it was Hillary's nickname for his member, his dick.
Not many people know this, but there was actually someone else in the room that night. There was a young Nepalese man in the corner quietly pleasuring himself, and that man was Tenzing. And if it wasn't for Tenzing, then the dispute would have got out of hand. He actually resolved the dispute between Bradman and Hillary that night.
But the incident affected Bradman deeply. He never regained form, while Hillary and Tenzing became friends and went on to conquer Everest in 1953.
Bear in mind this is a highly disputed version of events.
Nonetheless, many revisionists agree Bradman was an unlikely pioneer of the underground bisexual scene in Sydney, a fact oft left out of conventional histories.
His switch hitting, if you like, was said to stem from his switch hitting. His ambidextrous ability to bat either left or, right-handed. But that was something Bradman kept secret from all but really his closest lovers.
Bradman's open sexuality, like his batting, was ahead of his time, but in the end, his bisexuality was perhaps his greatest contribution to Australian culture.
On right through him, clean bowl.
In the third and final episode of The History of Hate, we look at the 1981 underarm incident and the shocking links to CER, Cathy Freeman, and the greatest fraud in sporting history. We'll see you